Disclosure, equality, consciousness. You're on GFM Radio with Brendan D. Murphy and the GFM crew, and you are the global freedom movement.
Hello and welcome to GFM Radio. This is Brendan D. Murphy and Amy Devlin coming to you live
from Sydney here on Sunday night. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
And we have Nick Good this week. Nick is a full-time badass. He is a very powerful and inspirational fire-lighting speaker, a mad pom as he refers to himself.
He's also an author of one of my most favourite books of all time called Amazing Grace, The 9 Principles of Living in Natural Magic.
And it's a damn fine book.
Co-authored with David Wolfe.
Yeah, it's a great book. It's that was my first contact with Nick. So that's how I know him mainly. I know you know a bit more about him.
I do. He's also the founder of a course of awesomeness, SuperHero training. It's very difficult to put into words, and I'm sure Nick will back me up on that one. It's just a real hands-on training of how to really get the best out of life and cut the bull dust, one might say.
Why censor ourselves?
Yeah. Feel free to speak openly throughout the show, Nick. Perhaps we should intro you. How are you going, Nick?
Wonderful, doing great.
Awesome.
Absolutely stoked and looking forward to this call.
What we didn't mention as well is that Nick will be coming down under very shortly, and that's something that we're very, very excited about as well.
That's going to be epic. That'll be, when was it roughly?
Around January, I believe.
January next year. Okay, cool. Very cool. It's going to be a hectic January. And I know he's pumped to get out here and light some fires under the buttocks of the Sydney Siders and whoever else he comes in contact with during his stay. Having said that, I know he'll talk more about his visit as we go. But yeah, let's kick off with where you want to what do you want to talk about, Nick, to get the ball rolling?
I think it's really useful to talk about the current world situation, the context that we're all in at the moment, people in Sydney, Australia are in. So life is a fascinating experience for us all, and all is not what it seems. Most of us are very busy, and our busyness is a distraction to a massive degree. Most of our energy, our focus, goes into our lives, our daily lives, just making ends meet in the world and dealing with, our to-do lists and whatever that is, if we've got families or businesses or careers or relationships or hobbies or interests and pastimes or dreams or whatever it is, we're all about that. But that's going on within a world, and that world is governed by controlling agencies that have laid down certain parameters, a matrix, so to speak, within which we have our little lives. And all of that, in all of its complexity and its wonder and its magnificence, is going on within something else, a greater reality. And there seems to me, from my experiences from doing hundreds of consultancies every year and traveling, I've just been traveling for the last 10 months, going all over the place, different places, meeting different people, observing the world from different countries, different life situations, and also being a very keen researcher and keeping my finger on the pulse, on the leading edge of current affairs. It seems to me that there is a tremendous collision going on in the world right now. And the collision is between reality, life itself, and our little world that is full of all of its political deceit and ecological catastrophe and economic oblivion and frightening news and trouble and drama. There's a collision going on between those two realities. One is a reality with a capital R, and the other one is a reality with a little r. And the little r reality is getting wiped out. Literally, it's being destroyed. And we're seeing the indications of this, the markers of this all over the place in social chaos, social unrest, political chaos, political unrest, ecological upheaval, extreme instability in all kinds of ecologically sensitive areas, volcanoes, earthquakes, extreme weather. And mixed into this situation, you have 100% proven, without a shadow of a doubt, impossible to refute, case upon case upon case of concrete proof that our governments, particularly in the Western world, but not only the modern Western world, are not only corrupt, self-centered, virtually insane sociopaths, but also plugged into abject evil, carrying out, unbeknown to us, well, more and more and more so, people are waking up to this fact, carrying out the most extraordinary satanic rituals. And in so doing, through these ceremonies and these rituals, anchoring in negative energy into this world of the most diabolical nature.
Yeah.
So this is just reality in the matrix, and nobody can deny it. Everyone is aware of this to some degree. What I'm doing, what I do, I spend my life dedicated to putting this into a correct context and encouraging people to use these global facts of life as motivation and inspiration to get on their real purpose in life, which isn't to live in a little box and work in a little box and drive around in little boxes and think in the box, but it's something much, much more wonderful and magnificent. And so what I do is I bring an experience of the wonder and the magnificence of that, because it's an experience of consciousness. And if I may, I can do a little experience here in the silence that will affect the lives of everyone that's listening to this recording.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I just want to encourage everyone that's listening just to take a few soft, gentle, deep breaths and maybe bring your hands together in front of your heart and connect the big cables that run from the most powerful organ in your body, your heart, down your arms into the center of your hands. When you connect those cables together, you come into a very powerful, energetic, structural alignment. So just bring your hands together in front of your chest. Just take a few soft, gentle, deep breaths. And I just want you to try something. Just trust me and smile. Golden inner smile, it's called. You just smile and breathe. And just imagine an image, a vision of yourself smiling, a golden smile, about 1 to 3 feet away from you, looking absolutely magnificent, feeling absolutely magnificent, radiating absolute magnificence at you. and you're just smiling the golden inner smile with your eyes closed, looking at an image of you, a perfect image of yourself, and you're just smiling a smile. So while you're doing that, I'm just going to do some silent maneuvering of energy, and we're going to see how you feel. Soft, gentle, deep breath, smile in the golden inner smile. Okay. Soft, gentle, deep breaths, a little stronger. How are you feeling there, you two?
Very
Very
peaceful,
relaxed.
sir.
You felt that peace, Faber?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's consciousness. The energy of life, the spirit of life it's not bound by space and time. Part of the thing that I focus on in my presentations and the healing seminars is to educate an understanding of the fact that time and space are two of the seven elements, the seven major elements that form the substance of the matrix. Nothing to do with eternity. Nothing to do with truth, absolute truth. And so there is a reality outside of the time-space continuum and the earth, air, fire, water, the substances that form this carbon-based physical material world. There's a presence, an energetic presence upon which our reality is superimposed. There's a presence, an energetic presence, consciousness, pure consciousness itself, the spirit of life, the whole spirit, the energy in life that has not been affected, cannot be affected, has not been infected, cannot be infected in any way, shape or form by anything that's ever happened in this world or will happen. It exists outside of the dimension of space, time, earth, air, fire and water. And your heart is the direct connector to that realm if your heart is in peace. And I have a 3-point strategy to bring your heart into the degree of peace that is a prerequisite to very naturally, without any effort whatsoever, receive, connect with, merge with, become one with, atone with, be blessed by this invisible energy. There's a 3-point strategy that I use. Number 1 is to love it. You have to focus on it with Jesus told us to focus on it with all our heart, all our mind, all our strength, and all our soul. That's a lot of focus. You have to include it in your life as the most important relationship, the thing to absolutely 100% commit to including in every moment of your life, or as much time as possible. And structure is a priority on our to-do lists and vision boards and planning and strategizing. That is always number one. And everything else is around that. That doesn't mean that you have to spend 8 hours a day praying or meditating or whatever. What it means is that you have to be aware of and connected to somehow this invisible power, no matter what you're doing, wherever you're going, whatever you're up to in the world, because what you're doing in the world is not the reason you're here. What you're doing in the world does not define you. You are not a politician or a radio show host or an author or a cook or a mother or a father. You are none of these things. This is not who you are. This is all what you do. It's not who you are. This is your cover, your superhero disguise. You see? But there's another reason you're here. And you are beginning to become aware of it. To some degree, if you're listening to this radio show, if you're following this radio movement, and if you're at all interested in anything that I do, then you are aware, to some degree, one degree or another, that something is up, very up. And depending on which lens you look through, or which lenses you choose to focus your creative energy into, considering what is up, and most of the awakening is coming in a negative form in the world right now. Political evil, satanic ritual abuse, pedophilia, extreme corruption in high places, ecological disaster, planet Nibiru, pole shift. All of these are scary, disturbing catalysts for the awakening of humanity. What I bring, and not just me, but what I champion and aspire to and encourage, is a positive awakening through an extremely simple, very, very, very effective, utterly transformational, some aligning with a way of being that by doing it, immediately your life begins to transform utterly. And you know it. It's the proof is there. And because of the time that we're in right now, the critical juncture of humanity, where many people and institutions, structures and forms are being destroyed, absolutely obliterated, and we ain't seen nothing yet. You think things have been radical in the world and, you know, whatever with the weather and, you know, the political situation and whatever. You haven't seen anything yet. This year, next year, the upheaval that will accelerate. So there's a reality superimposed on a reality. The reality with the capital R and the reality with the little r. The little reality is superimposed on the big reality. We need to align ourselves with the big reality. And we can do that, and we're supposed to be doing that while we're in the Matrix. That's what the Matrix is for. Evil is here to provide the specific necessary challenge in terms of the power that is required of us, the power of love, and specifically compassion, the keynote core aspect of which is forgiveness. that particular demonstration, to the degree to which we're being called to demonstrate it, is being reflected in the negativity and darkness in the world. Let's take Australia as a case in point. Let me just finish the 3-point thing, and I'll tell you how this works into Australian culture right now.
Beautiful.
Number one, you've got to love it with all your heart, all your mind, all your strength, all your soul. Number two, you have to love yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to love yourself better and better and better. You have to really love yourself. Love your inner child. Love your wounded child. Love all the negative aspects about you. Love all your imperfections. Accept yourself exactly how you are, as who you are. Forgive yourself absolutely. Encourage yourself all the time. Say kind things to yourself all the time. Think positive, imagine positive images of yourself all the time. Be gentle, patient, tolerant, encouraging with yourself. Love yourself. You have to love yourself. Because if you plug in to the power through your focus, you bring it into you. If you don't love yourself, that power will bring up all your stuff. It will drive it out of you and you will be dysfunctional. So now we're looking at the world. Let's look at the world with a little r. Do they love this invisible presence, this holy presence, this whole presence with all their heart, all their strength, all their mind, all their soul? Or have they invented rituals and dogmas and systems and idolatries and all these sophisticated, complex freaking ceremonies that require all this hoo-ha and bloody mumbo-jumbo? Or do they have this really simple, heart-centered, perfectly natural, easy connection with the presence of life? So we know the answer to that one. Now, and do people love themselves? Or are they critical, attacking, self-judgmental, unkind, cruel, bitter, insecure, jealous, egoed out, angry? So there's two big reasons why the world is the way it is, why it's reflecting back to us that it's breaking down. And then the third thing, the third point, you love the invisible presence, you love yourself, and then the third thing, you love others. And that's all you got to do, just those three things. And the way to love others, most relevant and critical, is through forgiveness. Why forgiveness? Because we're not just people. We're souls. We're souls that belong to an ancestral soul matrix. I'm connected to my mother and father by invisible cords. I'm connected to my grandfather and my grandmother by invisible cords. I'm connected to my great-grandfather and great-grandmother by invisible cords. I'm connected to my great-great-grandfather and grandmother by invisible cords. Down those cords, that's the DNA. That's the DNA. That's the thing that you've got enough of that in your body to go to the sun and back 4,000 times. That's how much DNA it is. That is the connector to your ancestors. All the vibrations of everything they thought, everything they said, everything they felt, everything they did, all those vibrations are recorded in the soul, transmitted to the human body through the DNA as vibrational frequency, which sets genetic coding sequences. The gene codes are like combination locks that have been defined by the way your ancestors have been behaving, the way they've been thinking, the way they've been feeling. That's what defines the gene coding sequences, which are combination locks. So We know now from science, the biology of belief, cellular biology, Dr. Bruce Lipton, particularly the voice for all that. We know now that environment, genes adapt according to the environment. The environment in your cells where the genes are is defined by the way you feel primarily, by the way you think primarily, and to a very large degree by what you eat and drink, but mainly by what you think and feel. But underneath it all, there's generations and 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 generations of your ancestors that if they haven't been loving this invisible thing with all their heart and mind and soul, if they haven't been loving themselves unconditionally, if they haven't been loving others instead of running around chopping everybody's heads off or shooting them, then we've inherited a complete discordance. And we have no choice whatsoever but to play that out in the world. And that's why the world is like a Muppet show, full of Muppets, reacting, stuck in a sticky web. And the way to release themselves from the web is through forgiveness. And when we went quiet, and I said I can manipulate consciousness here and give you an experience of deep peace, what I was doing was forgiveness prayers. I did 3 rounds of forgiveness, praying. This was the prayer I was praying. I said to all people listening to this radio show, may they forgive all people, may they forgive themselves. May all souls forgive each other and forgive themselves, be at peace with each other, be at peace with themselves, love each other and love themselves forever and ever and ever. Please and thank you. I say please God and thank you God. I like that word. I know what it means. So I say please and thank you. And I did 3 rounds of that, of a reversion of that 3 times, and it went deeper each time. I prayed into the ancestral matrix. For all the people listening to this radio show, may they forgive all people, may all people forgive them, may they forgive themselves. And may all their ancestors forgive each other and forgive themselves, and forgive all people. May they all be at peace with each other, be at peace with themselves, love each other and love themselves forever and ever and ever. Please God, thank you God, amen. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then I just started saying thank you, and I was doing all this silently. And I felt the energy shift and the big peace come in. And then I just held the space for the peace for a while. Now what that did is it made you feel more peaceful. Why did it make you feel more peaceful? Because I'm praying for your ancestral forgiveness over here in Hawaii. How's that? Because it works, that's why. Because I plug into the big juice. You can plug into the big juice as well. It's here all the time. It's never not here. It's just we're not. We're very rarely here. Very rarely are we fully, deeply present with this present moment and the invisible goodness in it. Very rarely, if ever at all, most people. Loving oneself, really loving oneself, and then radiating out love in action, being proactive, forgiveness prayers out, radiating forgiveness out, radiating compassion out, radiating blessings out. Then what you're doing is you're creating a circuit. You're completing a circuit. You plugged in, you cleared the connector through self-love, and then you radiated your focus out into the world in a way of compassion, forgiveness, blessing. Now your circuit's connected. Now you're a conduit for that flow of energy, for that Holy Spirit. And that's what you're supposed to be doing. That's what you're here to do. That's the only thing you're here in this world to do. Everything else is a complete waste of time that creates suffering. Period. That's it.
That's something powerful to consider. I totally agree. I would put it in another way, but I absolutely agree with the sentiment that we're not here in this mutant, deviant, psychotic matrix reality to be cogs in the machine and to do all the doingness nonsense that we're programmed to do. We're here to break through that programming and access the kind of beingness and grace that you're talking about.
So we all get caught up in these busy lives, and the worst thing about that is it disconnects us from our power, this experience of eternity, because we live in eternity. So what I'd like to do now is to share an experience with you so you can feel it and have the experience of what it's like to put your mind into eternal consciousness rather than the world consciousness, the world mindset, which is where most of our stress comes from. So let's have an experience, then we can discuss it, okay?
Cool.
So you want to take a few soft, gentle, deep breaths over there, Amy?
Yep.
And Brendan?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone who's listening? A few soft, gentle, deep breaths. Just bring your hands together in front of your heart again. Just relaxing, smiling, the golden inner smile. Imagining a vision of yourself looking magnificent, feeling magnificent. Golden, full of life force, full of vitality, full of contentment, full of peace. And let that vision get bigger and bigger and bigger until it's almost like you're blowing up a balloon and it's filled up this room. And it's just you in happiness. Now let it go outside the room into the town or the area you're in. And just be aware of that area, wherever it is in Sydney or wherever. And then just be aware of Australia, the whole continent, where it is in relation to the Southern Ocean, Tasmania, New Zealand, Indonesia, Bali, Vanuatu, Fiji, the South Pacific. And just keep zooming out until you're above the Earth. You're in the solar system, and keep zooming out into the galaxy until the Earth and the whole solar system become a tiny place inside your own heart. And just treasure that solar system, that Earth. Just treasure it in your heart as you embrace the galaxy. There's billions and billions and billions of solar systems in this galaxy. This Milky Way galaxy. Billions and billions of solar systems, other suns, other worlds, other possibilities, other realities. And there's billions of galaxies in this universe. And just allow yourself to come into universal consciousness and see all these billions of galaxies inside of you, just spinning around like eddies, like a whirling eddy in the water, swirling around these galaxies, full of stars, solar systems. And then there's billions of galaxies in this universe. And there's billions of universes in this cosmos. Billions of universes in this cosmos. And just be aware of that. No matter what other noises are going on outside of you, around, we want to be able to hold this consciousness no matter what's going on. And it's just opening your awareness to what's actually surrounding us, how big it is. And expanding your awareness to contain it. So it's inside you, because the cosmos, which contains the billions and billions of universes, which contains the billions and billions of galaxies, which contains the billions and billions of solar systems, which contains this solar system, with this world, it's all going on inside of you. And the cosmos itself is contained within eternity. Contained within eternity. The cosmos itself is contained within eternity. And just allow yourself now to let go of your form, to let go of that bubble, and just connect with the eternal presence. Just allow yourself to meet it, to merge with it in the peace. And I want you to reach for it with your feeling from your heart. And just in your heart of hearts, just say to this presence, I love you. Thank you for loving me. I love you. Thank you for loving me. And the more love and gratitude you put into it, the more it flows into you. Do that now. And just allow yourself to really connect with that presence. And it's a gentle reaching from the heart, exploring from the heart in every direction at once, in the invisible presence of life, which is absolute and perfect intelligence and consciousness itself. There's nothing more alive than the spirit of life. You need to use your heart, your love, your intention of gratitude and appreciation to connect with it and embrace this spirit of life. Breathe it into you. Allow it to come into your heart. Say, I love you, thank you for loving me. I love you, thank you for loving me. I love you, thank you for loving me. And talk to it and say, please help me forgive myself, help me forgive all people, help us all forgive each other, forgive ourselves. Be at peace with each other, be at peace with ourselves, love each other and love ourselves for and ever and ever and ever. Please, thank you. And then just go quiet and feel it. And you just keep asking and feeling, going into the silence and the communion. You can have communion become one, totally at one with this. And it's like soaking a sponge in the most perfect thing. We soak it up like a sponge. Our consciousness, our soul is like a sponge. It's dying, literally dying for this nourishment. And here we are in eternity. We are eternity. Eternity is our nature. Soft, gentle, deep breath, smiling the golden inner smile. Giving thanks in the heart. Allowing the peace to flow. Allowing the peace to meet you like an ocean. An eternal ocean of peace. Meeting the I land of yourself. The ocean of eternity laps against the shores of your soul. So beautiful. There's so much beauty in this experience. Then you take that power deeper and deeper and deeper into yourself and you love yourself better. And you say to yourself, I love you, thank you for loving me. I love you, thank you for loving me. I love you, thank you for loving me. I forgive you, thank you for forgiving me. I forgive you, thank you for forgiving me. I love you, thank you for loving me. So now you're bringing it into your physical reality. And then you extend it out of you by radiating the compassion out. I love you, thank you for loving me. Just thinking the thoughts while you're looking at people. Your family, your partners, your lovers, your friends, your dog, your cat. Everyone. Not because they have necessarily done anything to deserve it. Say to your politicians and your psychotic, sociopathic controllers, I love you, thank you for loving me. I love you, thank you for loving me. I love you, thank you for loving me. What it does is it liberates you. It liberates you. Because if you're not loving, you're judging. You're in denial of your divinity. You're in denial of the presence of eternity. You're in denial of the reality. And you're judging yourself and in denial of your own greatness, your own beauty, your own magnificence, your own power, your own worthiness, your own ability, your own nature. You're in denial of that. And then you're projecting out judgment into the world, judging everyone. Judge, jury, and executioner. That's what the ego specializes in. The whole world is a reflection. Everything that goes on in the physical material world is a reflection of the human psyche. Not just one of us, but all of us. So we see all this political deceit, this political evil. We see all this child abuse. What's going on? What's that a reflection of in me? Well, that's a reflection of me abusing my inner child. Instead of allowing myself to play and be in wonder of my life and just be free and innocent, I have an agenda. I'm a busy guy. I'm running multiple businesses. I've got a family. I travel almost constantly. And I have 300 emails a day to answer, plus phone calls and messages. So I need something that fits absolutely into my daily life and doesn't cost me any time, energy, focus. And it's as easy as surrendering. It's as easy as surrendering and just relaxing, kicking back. And just saying, thank you, I love you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if I don't do that, if I'm in judgment, I project out into my world aspects of myself. And so if I ignore my child and I brutalize my child by ignoring it, never doing what it says, what it wants to do, making it do something else, child abuse shows up in the world. Child abuse communicates to me you're abusing your child. If I live with an agenda, I have my business plan, my 3-year strategy, planning all mapped out, my action list prioritized into short, medium and long-term goals, all my appointments locked in for the next 3 years, or the major ones. I have an agenda. Say I have a goal, I want to earn $10 million in the next 3 years. Or I want to build 6 hospitals, or 3 schools. Or I want to become a vet. Everything I do is geared towards that agenda. It's not geared towards responding to the present moment in the most psycho-emotional, psycho-spiritually mature and appropriate way, and going with the flow of that spontaneity and synchronicity, opening portals of possibility from the infinite number of possible realities that could crystallize and converge in any given moment from out of the quantum field. No, it's got nothing to do with that. It's living an agenda is, I have this plan, These are my strategies. These are my action steps. And I'm doing it. And nothing's going to get in my way. And I'm going to get myself up in the morning. I'm going to get pumped to charge. And anything gets in my way, it's going to get run over. So when we're not in the flow of life, we create ruptures in the flow of life. When we create ruptures in the flow of life, the flow gets blocked and clogged up with forms, institutions, structures that manifest in my world. And if they hurt, or they cause me suffering when I see them, witness them, it's an indication, it's communication alerting me to what I've got going on inside of me, how I'm contributing to the collective consciousness in a way where pedophiles, child abusers, political, evil, warmongers, corporate maniacs, greed, all shows up in my world. Outside, or if I, choose to look out the windows or through the window of the media. But if I don't have any of that, if my life is just full of the most beautiful series of synchronistic events and people, and wonder, more and more miracles and miracles, wondrous experiences, you're either on one train now going in the opposite direction very quickly, or you're on the other train going in the other direction very quickly. There's only two ways you're going now, because no one's stagnant anymore. They're either going to hell fast, or they're stepping into this other thing, this unknown adventure that we haven't got a clue about. No matter how much we've read, no matter how many fancy books you got, I'm surrounded by the world's greatest wisdom, bookshelves and bookshelves, libraries of the books. No matter how many seminars you've been to, how many webinars you've done, how many courses you've taken, how many hours of power you've had. It's all a bunch of bullshit. It's all a bunch of bullshit, and it's all going. In the next few years, you're not going to witness an improvement of the matrix. You're going to witness the destruction of the matrix, and the experiencing, the manifestation, the embodying, increasingly from this moment forth, right now, of more and more wonder and beauty in your life. And the more you get into it, the faster you realize, oh my God, this is amazing. This was there all the time. Why wasn't I into this shit like 5 years ago or 10 years ago? How come I just made all that so difficult for myself? And you become extremely effective in this world. Extremely effective in this world, this matrix. Doing what you're supposed to be doing, living your destiny. Not struggling along with your fate. You're going to get mashed, crushed, broken. You're going to get, the avalanche is going to catch up with you, and you're going to be broken and carried, kicking and screaming towards your fate. Or you can ride the currents of your destiny, like a surfer can choose whatever line he wants to surf on the wave. A good surfer, you can ride your destiny, the waves of infinite possibility. You can ride the line you choose, and the highest line is the highest version of yourself, the most switched on, the brightest, the most illuminated, the most gorgeous, talented, fabulous, amazing, mind-blowing, peace-filled, utterly peace-filled, loving, healed, balanced, and empowered. Empowered in a way, not like the Tony Robbins way where you pump yourself up and go out there and kick some ass, whatever. The way where you empower yourself by putting your hands together, coming into a golden, smiling experience of eternal consciousness by going out through the world, through the solar system, through the galaxy, through the universe, through the cosmos into eternity, through love and gratitude. Loving yourself better, really taking care of yourself, and then loving others in an active way, specifically forgiveness, praying forgiveness, prayers for other people and their ancestors. Absolutely miraculous, that combination, the alchemy of doing those three things, utterly life transforming, completely life transforming. Immediately and instantly, you begin to feel the benefits in the peace. You just feel more peaceful. Every day, more peace, more peace, more peace. The stuff that used to trigger you before doesn't trigger you. You become increasingly disinterested in the matrix, the machinations of evil, and all that good stuff. You become increasingly disinterested, distance yourself in consciousness from the Muppet Show, which is the goodies against the baddies, and you exist more in this eternal sense of self, and you're able to be so much more effective in the matrix, in whatever your joy is calling you to follow, whichever life path your joy calls you to follow. And you always are initiated because you have to die. The ego has to die. We have to shed the skin of ego. We have to let it go. We have to die to who we were. And life is going to kill it if we don't do it ourselves. If we do it ourselves, we can die 10,000 times a day by just putting our hands together, coming into an eternal state of consciousness, which is completely and utterly out of the ego's sense of self. So we're dying to the ego. We're dying to our personality, our persona, which is just a projection of the soul anyway. Wonderful thing, but it's not who we are. We have to die to that. So you always get an experience where you've got to let go. And the sooner you get that over and done with, the better. The more you let go of, the better. You need courage, tremendous amount of courage for the physical, spiritual path, to take a step of faith, the archetypal mythological step of faith, where you you do something that's going to, that's going to challenge you beyond, right out your comfort zone, the leap of faith.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Got to go for it. Got to go for it.
Yeah, outside the comfort
So I
zones.
just share what I find is the most powerful things to really get people activated. And my website, Nick Good PD, personal development, pd.com, nickgoodpd.com, that's got a bunch of free goodies on there that is along all these themes.
Cool.
It's all about the practice. What do you do when you first wake up in the morning? What do you do before you go to sleep at night? How do you get yourself totally aligned and in your power? And how do you maintain that every day, and increase it a little bit more every day? How do you do that? What are your active protocols that work? How do you actually liberate yourself from your own neurosis, from your own hang-ups, from your own judgment, from your own perspectives, your own persona, your own self-opinionated stuff, your own need to be right, our subtle shadow ego? How do we rid ourselves of all this stuff? How do we do it really easily, super efficiently, in a lovely, 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 lovely personal experience of peace and sweetness? How do we actually dissolve our addictions so they go away forever? Is it actually true that if we could love enough, we'd be the most powerful being in the world or the universe? If only we could love enough, as Emmett Fox once said. Is it true? Is it possible that life is actually the most wonderful, incredible, extraordinarily magical, fabulous experience, and all those fairy stories and fairy tales and magic tales that we used to love and believe in so much when we were kids, the essence of that is actually true? And is it possible that we've actually been sold the biggest bunch of bullshit by evil manipulators that not only want to destroy your livelihood and make it difficult for you to survive financially, not only do they want to destroy your physical material world by polluting it with the worst chemical pollutants imaginable, not only do they want to create war and misery and social meltdown and social chaos everywhere, and not only do they have an agenda where they work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year with a 10-year business plan or longer. Not only all that, but the whole thing beneath it all and behind it all is for your soul. It's for your consciousness. It wants to devour your soul. And if this is news to you, anyone listens to this and you think this is like, oh, what's this guy on about? He's gone too far now. Believe me, this is what's going on. This is what life is. This is what life is. It's not a human experience. It's a spiritual reality. And that spiritual thing involves your soul. And evil wants to attract your soul, and it wants you to think in a certain way, speak in a certain way, feel in a certain way, and act in a certain way. And that certain way is within a vibrational frequency. It's all low vibrational frequency behavior, depression, anger, resentment, jealousy, confusion, fear. The soap operas that mainstream people are addicted to watching drama on television or in movies. Drama, 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 drama. Low frequency vibration. Or hysterical stuff. Hysteria. Unstable, destabilized, utterly unstable, destabilized psyche. Fear-based, trauma, terror. The violence, the amount of violence that anyone who watches television, anyone that watches television anymore, like I grew up on all the most violent films. I was so addicted to violence. It's taken me decades to wean myself off my addiction to violence. Violent films, violent television, violent sport, violent thoughts, violent actions. Decades to wean myself off that addiction. It's a manipulation of consciousness to harness spiritual energy, which is the creative force of life. It's the maddest plan by the maddest mind. You know, in the archetypes, there's always the good against evil. James Bond, Flash Gordon, Ming the Merciless, somebody who's going to take over the world or blow up the world, whatever. It's always a mad villain. And the ego is the villain. Completely insane. The ego is the part of you, this physical body. I am this person. It's a lie. You have a physical body. It's a projection of your soul. The whole world is a holographic illusion made of the substance of time, space, earth, air, fire, and water. And consciousness interfaces with it for a certain period of time, an age, a dispensation of time, a cycle of time. That's why these things spin, these galaxies, these time-space continuums, these ages, they spin. They're like little eddies and whirlpools in the ocean of eternity. And they have their moment. That moment might last for 1 billion years, but compared to eternity, it's nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. So we're having our moment in this world. It's been spinning for a while in this way, but it's not going to be spinning very much longer in this way. Every marker is, the red flags are up, the alarms are going whack, 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 whack. It's time to wake up, or you're going to get sucked down into the vortex that is being composted. And you are not going to enjoy yourself. The purpose of life is to ascend gracefully into another reality that is that interfaces with this current one. Because if everything is vibrational frequency, just like we can have a radio station 91 FM, and we can also have 92, and we can have 93, and we can have 94.7, 95.6, all existing in the same space, in the same room, at the same time. But we can only hear one of them, depending on what frequency we turn our radio dial to. So exactly the same with us, exactly the same with the reality that we appear to be in. So we need to be retracting our investment in this material world, the matrix that is being engineered by the architects of control, the architects of deception, coming through your political, religious, military, industrial institutions. We need to reclaim the energy that we've invested in this and start putting that energy where? Inside of us, into this invisible thing that is in the real world, loving ourselves so it actually comes through into our cells, and then radiating that out through forgiveness towards people and their ancestors. And when you do that, you live in the grace. You are utterly protected. You're living in a world within a world. And you're going to be very, very glad you're in that world, believe me, in the not too distant future. Very glad. We need to unplug from the matrix very quickly, extremely quickly, because the cage is getting sprung. And we're dealing with psychosis, schizophrenia, maniacs, sociopaths, the coldest, heartiest, most wounded and brutalized psychics, human beings that have been destabilized and ruined by conditioning at a very, very early age in ways that it would be difficult for you to imagine. It would be so horrifying for you to consider. Those are the leaders of this world. They've had a job done on them very early on. So this is the way it works, you see. I don't know all the answers to all the questions, but I do know the answer to the biggest question of all. I know the most important answers, the 3 most important answers to the biggest question of all. And I promise you, you do it, you get the results. You don't do it, you get the results. And it's a vastly, vastly contrasting realities. So give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks that there is this power here, and reconcile yourself with it. It wants you pure, innocent. It wants you to clean yourself through your forgiveness, through your humility, through your devotion, through your gratitude, through your love, through your compassion. And it will fill up your life, and it will just make you a better version of yourself. That's all it does. Whatever it is, whatever your crazy dream is, the thing that you wish you could do, or you really want to do, or you know you're here to do, it makes that happen. It brings the people, resources, circumstances together for it all to happen. And it does it in the most, kind of like surprising ways. Unexpected. So get some.
Not some, lots. All of it. I have so many things going on in my mind. It seems that this is what I've sort of gathered from this last piece, is that despite all the war and all the atrocities and all the evil that's going on in the world, the more of that happens, the more of a chance we have to cleanse ourselves of that and ascend to the realms that we would want to ascend to, because that allows us to give more thanks and to forgive more deeply than we ever have before, if we do opt to do that, rather than have this feeling of hatred and despair. And if we go into that side of things, it can be a lot worse. But if we do adopt the forgiveness and the thanks and the love, that can bring us more than we've ever wanted.
We have to. There's absolutely no choice. There's no choice. There's only one way.
Yeah.
We have to forgive. We have to. And it works. That's the wonderful thing about it. It's miraculous. It's utterly miraculous. And you're going to see it when I come down there. God, if, all being well, you're going to see it.
We can't wait. It's been such a pleasure talking with you.
I really
listening to you.
I can't wait to give people the opportunity to sit in person with you and soak up the energy that you bring with you. I was going to mention earlier on that we spoke to you for about 45-50 minutes before we actually started the official interview. And from very early on, because I'd never spoken with you before, but very early on I noticed that you carry a very, very peaceful energy with you that I tuned in on quite quickly and noticed it was extremely noticeable. I tend to be fairly sensitive to that kind of thing, and it's something that you carry in spades. So I'm looking forward to you bringing that side of things, as well as the lighting the fire under people's asses side of things as well. I think you combine all of that very, very well.
Yeah, it's good, man. I'm going to have the combo. That's where all the power comes through the piece.
Yeah.
That's what hell is, when you haven't got that, when you're, tormented and obsessed and, terrified, and all the complexes are running, and, the addiction patterns and stuff like that. It's that's hell. That's all part of the hell. There's innumerable versions of hell. And without hell is basically the absence of the presence, the holy presence, the absence of the nature of life, the spirit of life, the living love, the divine love, the peace and the love go together, and the light, the illumination, the enlightenment, the wisdom, the illumination of your mind, the way you can just understand life and just see things for what they are. You know, it happens because the spirit of life has that energy. That's what that energy is. So the more time you spend in communion with it, the more that sponge soaks it up. The more you love yourself and forgive, the more the circuit's flowing. You've connected all the connections. You know, the sponge just gets full of it, and it is illumination. So, you know, I'm a very simple guy. You know, I was born and raised on a farm in Lincolnshire, England. I'm a farmer's son. I played rugby, you know, and boxed most of my life before I got, the big lightning bolt awakening. And once that happened, you know, I was like this, and you know, it's a completely different experience. And so we got to get on the program. You know, we just really do. You know, if we're at all motivated and inspired to live an amazing life and to turn this thing around in this world right now, and not just for ourselves, but the people that we love, and for the Mother Earth, and for the children. You know, all the children suffering so miserably. I mean, the number of souls that are suffering right now in this world is the vast majority of souls, human souls in this world, are suffering miserably. The vast majority. It's a shocking thing to admit, but it's the way it is.
Yeah.
And the vast majority of those souls are beautiful, caring, sharing, concerned, helpful, kind people, good people. Like, you know, literally almost everybody. But there's a very small number of individuals that basically have lost their souls. It's fascinating how this works, and this is why I love my religious studies as well, because as much as I'm into quantum science and mythology and, you know, astrology, cosmology, mythology, I love the spiritual teachings coming through Jesus's hardcore school. And it's fascinating that someone can lose their soul.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it's always been fascinating. And you don't want to be doing that. You do not want to be losing your soul.
No.
It's a very disturbing experience that you will not enjoy. And the way it happens is that your soul, your spirit, you are, who you actually are, is a spiritual being. A spirit, there's only one spirit, it's the spirit of life, and we are a child of that. In order for us to explore life in the different dimensions, we travel like in a spaceship in our soul. The soul provides an individuated consciousness, the continuity of an individuated experience. The spirit can't have an individuated experience because it's a singularity, it's a oneness. So, in order to explore itself and explore life, it individuates and becomes an individual part of itself, within itself. And it does, in order to do that, it needs a soul, which is like a vehicle that provides individuality. And then that soul literally projects an image into the world, just like a projector projects an image onto a movie screen. And that image on the movie screen, that image in the world, is our physical form. When our spirit is in our soul, in a healthy, perfect, pure way, the projection into the world is a pure and beautiful, miraculous projection. That's why Jesus said, "Have I not said that you are gods?" Because that's what we are when our pure spirit is being projected into the world. We are divine manifestations, masters of the elements, masters of the physical forms, masters of the atomic particles, yeah?
Yep.
So what happens is that spirit individuates in soul, soul projects an image, and the image becomes identified, or let's say the consciousness becomes identified with the experience of the image in the world. And now I think I am this person, this is reality, and I'm looking outside of myself through my senses, which see less than 1% of what's actually there, much less than 1%, and then that 1% only goes through a central processing unit called my conscious mind, which is just a bunch of conditioning and programs that have been given to me by other human beings living on a 1% projection, projecting out into the material world, disassociating themselves over generation, 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 and generation from their spiritual nature. While they're incarnating and reincarnating, which means the physical body's wearing out, the projection dies, the vibrations of the projection go back into the soul, which is recording everything. When the recordings in the soul become sufficiently negative, i.e. impure, i.e. the absence of love, the absence of reality, the absence of peace, when that happens, when that critical threshold is met, the spirit leaves. Your spirit will not live in your soul when the environment becomes toxic. The soul has an energy of its own because the spirit was in there. It has a karmic momentum. And therefore the projection in the physical material world has a momentum. So you can have people running around, there's plenty of them, especially in America, that are actually the living dead.
Yeah.
The spirit has left the soul is full of negative vibrations. The vibrations are projecting a negative form, a negatively charged persona and personality, and the consciousness is absolutely identified with that person, that persona, that personality. And if you die like that, that's how you lose your soul.
Yeah.
Because you're so identified with the physical form, the material world, and you're trapped in the low vibrational darkness. But guess what? You're not even real anyway. You're just a phantom, like a little shadow on the screen. Mm-hmm. But you think you're real, and your reality appears real. And that illusion can last apparently forever. Hence eternal hell, eternal damnation. So you can have the illusion of suffering, the suffering that never ends.
Absolutely.
And it's a freaking horror show. And society, social engineering, government strategies on every level of society, they've been engineering us aggressively for at least the last 70 or 80 years. Probably a lot longer. But technologically and scientifically accelerated exponentially over the last 70 or 80 years. That society is being engineered to create that situation.
Yeah.
So we need to wake up to this very, very quickly. and understand that there is great, great peril here. This is not a story with a happy ending unless you make it one.
Mm. Yeah. On that note, which is somewhat serious, but I know that that's not. This is not a place where you would encourage people to get stuck. I know you're a master at lifting people above and facilitating this, the transcension of all this sort of negative potential and filth that we find around us. I want to encourage people to absolutely get along to your events, which we'll be hosting in January, it looks like at this point.
We believe that you have a free gift for everyone listening.
Yeah. I've got a nice free gift. It's called the Amazing Grace audio book. It's one of the most popular, best-selling books in the world. It's superbly relevant to these current times we're in. It's extremely entertaining, very well written, brilliant stories, and really well put together, and extremely empowering. And you can go to amazinggraceaudiobook.com and get the thing for free right there. And you can also buy a hard copy online anywhere, Amazon or wherever. But it's it's a free gift for you guys, so you can familiarize yourself a little bit more with what I'm about and drench your mind with positivity, uplifting, inspiring information. Amazing Grace is so uplifting and inspiring, but it's also extremely practical. It gives you the best nutritional guidance, lifestyle guidance, how to live your dreams, how to move out of current situations into ones that you want to live in, how to navigate the life situations that we're challenged with, and most importantly, how to really walk the hero's journey, how to live that destiny. Very, very, very exciting, awesome stuff. And you can get that free there, amazinggraceaudiobook.com. And you can also check out my website, Nick Good PD, P for Peter, D for David. That's personaldevelopment.com. Nick Good PD. Good as in very good, no E on the end. And the nickgoodpd.com's got some really good stuff as well. It's all free at the moment, has been for the last few years. But I might be changing that around pretty soon. So you guys get the free good rather than
don't hesitate. And on that note, brother, thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom with us.
Such a beautiful episode.
You're welcome. Looking forward to bringing the juju down there and sharing, activating some of the brothers and sisters down there and meeting some of the powerhouses that are already there.
Yeah.
And just creating the portals, the portals and the grids with the people. That's all you need. You just need the people. You don't need crystals, you don't need flipping paraphernalia, you don't need geometry, you don't need anything except people.
Yeah.
And when you get people together in the right way, in the right spirit, with the right intention, goodness gracious me, do things happen. So I'm really, really, really excited to come down under. I love Australia. I lived there for 3.5 years ago, and very successful experiences down there. Always loved, wanted to get back to Australia for a really good meaty time.
Mm-hmm.
And I can just feel its time. And stoked to meet you guys.
Awesome.
Big shout out for you, everything that you do in the world and bringing it to Sydney, raising the awareness and the consciousness. And big thanks to everyone listening. And just get on the program before. The more on it you are before I get there, the more powerful the experience we're going to have, the more the revolution is going to be.
Beautiful.
Well said.
Well
GFM is on. We're already simmering away to have you down here, and by the time you get down here, it's going to be a bonfire. So we're looking forward to lighting it up with you, mate. And thanks again for your time. We'll get in touch. We'll keep in touch.
Fabuloso. All right. Hugs and blessings. Talk to you guys soon.
Blessings, brother. See you soon.
Bye.
Gotcha.
Freedom, disclosure, equality, consciousness. You're on GFN Radio with Brendan Lee Murphy and the GFN crew, and you are the global freedom movement.